Today we're going to pressure wash this 1963 Buick LeSabre for what I assume is the first time in 58 million, probably 20 years. Then I'll show you an easy trick to scrub off all this rust stain and barnacles, just a couple bucks. And if the patina shows up good enough, might even lay down my patented shine juice on it, show you how to put that on. I did get this home in 2 previous episodes. She's a little sketchy, but we made it. Before I start making repairs and improvements, guy's got to see what he's working with here. So we're going to clean it up best I can today and see what we're working with, and we'll just kind of shoot from the hip, you know. In general, Buick is my favorite fuel-powered automotive person carriage hauler thing. I like to call them a car. Anyway, I like them, but not the LeSabres that much, to be honest. So my intention here is just to get her down the road fairly quick. Guy's got to keep his inventory moving. If we were going to do a full restoration, it'd need a lot of metal work on this thing, and I just ain't got the time. Or a wristwatch. So my intention is just clean her down, get it down to what is probably the second paint job it looks like, protect what's here, and the next owner can decide, are they painting it? I don't know. They might just leave it. I mean, gonna have to ask them, I guess. These geese are just coming in. Sorry there, I think I lost my temper a little bit. Didn't mean to. What I was trying to get at is, I'll bring you around on a tour here. We'll hook our peepers into what we got going on, and then we'll just get to washing. I just, you know, it's late in the morning already. I got stuff, and there's places to be, basically. So from a guy's experience, you need trees in about 10, 9, maybe 11 years, average-ish, to kind of get this effect going on. Looks like my liver, basically. And that's pretty consistent on the top of the whole rig. Up here, pretty bad on the back here. I think most of this is probably going to blow right off. Kind of curious if it brings some of that rust stain with it or not. This stuff here, I can show you how to get rid of it, or a guy might want to keep it if you're going to put some bowl linseed oil on it or anything like that. And then we got that same effect back here. Basically looks like the hull of the Titanic. Pretty much everywhere. We'll shine on the bumpers. That could be had pretty easy. Get that done. All the stainless is actually in pretty good shape, but this is that metal bodywork I was talking about. This can be pulled and saved, absolutely, but you got quite a few hours there. Bottom of that door needs to be pulled. You've probably got about 100, 110 hours of bodywork just right here, at least for me. You guys might be faster, hard to say. This has been painted, clearly, but this might look pretty cool. We get this washed down, we got some rust coming through, lighter white, we got some primer. So it might look pretty neat, actually. And then there's a lot of this flaked paint. Be interesting to see what happens when we hit that with 47.9 million PSI. More of that barnacly stuff. This will look nice. We can exaggerate this if the guy wants to. We're going to use some quad zero steel wool. Guy can whiten these out, get some more brown in here, and then you can do the same on the fins. Drag this down a little bit, exaggerate all that. Like I say, the next guy can just clean it up. If he wants to paint it, that's fine. Not a lot of rust. I mean, we got this right here, and the rockers are solid. We've been underneath this car in our previous episodes, and you want to see that, you can go back and look at one of them. Same story over here. Not a lot of rust, if that any at all. In fact, you could see just bare metal there. That might have been replaced even. Hard to say, probably. Same little rust bubble over there. But it should come around pretty good. Oh, I already fixed this, looks like. That's good. And I'm going to do something with the windshield. This rock chip's fairly annoying. Might get that plugged up here pretty soon. Guy could put his finger through the whole thing, so. But I think where we'll start is just the hood. I'm gonna do 1/2 just so we can kind of see a comparison. After we get her bubbled down, I'll get some of that steel wool in here and we'll see what it looks like. I'll probably do a small patch and then I'm gonna make a decision. Is the look worth the labor to scrub this whole thing down? I'm kind of thinking it would. This would be a neat look if you were gonna like clear coat it or put some matte coat on it. But I might end up just linseed oiling this thing. So I'd like to bring back a little bit more color than what's on here right now. Clearly a guy is gonna need a nice strong chemical that's just gonna eat this moss and mold off the car, but also smells good enough you could still grab lunch at the VFW. I've never shown anybody this before, but I'm going to show you right now how to mix up my special cleaning chemical I call George Olson. You're basically going to start with 1 quart of generic O'Reilly's car wash. Get it wherever you want, doesn't matter, throw a quart in. Now we got to add some firepower to this thing. You're going to want to put some purple power in here. I like it about 17.2 to 1. You mix it however you want, I guess. Just going to put that in there like that. We're going to bring some more cleaning around. I got some Goo Gone. 2 telebuses of this. Boop. Boop. And then this is where the real magic comes in. From my friends up north, yeah. You're going to want some Canadian in here. And just a little bit. You don't need a whole bunch. And that'll really bring around a nice aroma. Also puts a really nice matte finish on the paint when it dries. Pop your cap on. Give it a little shake here. I think that's probably good. Smells like petrified lemons in a submarine engine room. Perfect. This is probably the only machine I own that doesn't need ether to start. Warm-up control, fuel, ignition. What a huge difference this is already making. There's some stains in here, but I think the quad steel wool will take that out. This side has some deeper rust and some paint flaking, so it's going to be really interesting to see what happens on this other side. But boy, she's really going to brighten up. Even this fender, I kind of started on the top of it, back into this door. So she's gonna come back around actually quite a bit. It's too bad the paint is so porous. Clear coating it wouldn't look good because it'd be so bumpy. Guy could probably wet sand it, but I just think we'd go through that paint so fast. It's pretty damaged and deteriorated. I'm gonna move everything over, get this hood, and then I gotta go up and grab the roof, of course, and then we'll work our way back to the trunk. This is going to be really cool watching this go away too. Some of you might have been yelling stop at the TV there, but I don't mind this. This is going to give it some good character, so I'm just going to keep going. If it starts lifting like this, I'm just going to stay in her. What is this, a string? Probably. This is cleaning up quite a bit. We're also going to get some gray primer. We've got some dark rust in here that'll stay. So this side's going to look pretty cool. This looks pretty neat if you're into the patina stuff. Lots of scratches. Stop putting stuff on the roof, fellers. This is from moving boxes around and stuff like that, I can almost bet. Sometimes they get dented right here from the roof being caved in, and that is not easy to fix, to be honest. I'm gonna whip that other side out, which was a little bit worse than this side. Then back here on the trunk. Pretty excited to get into this. You can see that George Olson chemical is just taking this stuff right off. As the guy goes on here, might be changing on my mind about scrubbing this down. These stripes with that rust in it, I mean, that's really hard to duplicate. And if I get that steel wool in, I'm gonna lose a lot of that brown. So I haven't quite decided. We can extend a lot of this though with that steel wool, kind of these features on the fins. Man, it's cleaning up nice. They really did a great job designing the rear end of this car. I mean, that is one cool looking car. This is kind of the poor man's Cadillac. You couldn't get a Caddy, get a Buick. My opinion, better transmission, better engine anyway. I mean, they're both essentially GM, but you know. I've been in your waters. I came for sure. I've never been so close before. It's one way or the other. Made my way all the way up to the engine here. Finish up with this last and then I'll do one more, just kind of rinse on everything. I got my anti-H2O Enter 300 on the carburetor there. You could tell obviously because it's blue. That's also seat cover material for Evinrude snowmobiles. Soak this down with some purple power. Gonna clean this down real quick. I am probably gonna put a fuel pump and I might have a water pump leak. So I wanna get all this dirt and grime off as best as I can. You're rolling the dice though with these old cars because a lot of the oil leaks might be plugged up and well, you're just basically removing nature's gaskets when you get in here and start getting this oil off, but we're gonna cross our fingers. What is that? I don't know. I left arguably the most, I don't know, internet calls it satisfying. I just call it cleaning. But these doors are left, do those in a minute. I got swirled away doing the chrome and the stainless here. And you're gonna see this blue, kind of green, soapy film over pretty much anything that's chrome, stainless, headlights, the glass, stuff like that. And you can also use it on old paint. Now don't start digging this into your Maserati. It needs to be old paint like this car here. And you can see underneath of this, we've got clean white paint. Over here, you've got all that kind of rust color showing through. I have decided I am not going to do the entire car. The paint is much too porous. You probably can't see this, but it's almost like popcorn ceiling from the 80s. The first layer of paint, or the factory paint, is what's showing through. Then the second paint job is kind of this porous material. It's pretty much all been eaten away by the sun and elements. And it's really, really coarse, and it would be a chore to do this whole car. If you want to see what that looks like on more of a smooth finish, I have some videos somewhere in my playlist about doing that stuff. But I think on this car, the best thing is we're just gonna linseed oil it. I got some shine juice we're gonna put down. I haven't done it on this course of paint, but we're gonna just see what happens. Not quite sure. All of the trim, the door handles, you name it, I've scrubbed with that steel wool. And this is gonna bring it right back around. And then you can get in there with some chrome polish or something like that. So anywho and how, I'll fire up the magic wand. Let's get these doors done. Do one final rinse and then get this thing back into the shop, get it drying so we can get that juice on it. I know you remember how dull this was when we started. So how's your brain now? Mine's just bottled all the way up. Works really great, super fast, super cheap. Works amazing on the stainless, the wiper arms. Look at this back bumper. Just brand spanking new. Looks really sharp. I know it's hard to believe, but I got sidetracked again. I completely forgot that I had an appointment to get tires put on today. So I'm in the middle of doing that. This drum and all the studs have been replaced because they're right-hand thread. This back one is the original left-hand thread, and you can tell because of the way that they are, or the big L stamped into them, or the fact that going left just tightens them. But I got all these off. I just quick hit them with the cheek poker. And one of my tricks is, if you're putting hubcaps on, just spray the outsides really quick because you can get the tires painted, because these are coming off anyway. And these are the cheapest pair that I could find on eBay. Vitures? Sure, that'll work. A lot better than these things. These are the ones where the belts were separating and stuff like that. So I got to rip down to the tire store quick, get these mounted, and I think tomorrow morning I'll get the tires back on, and then we're back to putting the juice on this thing again finally. Guy got those tossellated back on. Already looks 32.7% better and not quite finished yet. If you sit there and struggle with tire size, I used to a lot too. 235/70/15 is really the universal tire for 50s and 60s cars. You can't go wrong. It's the proper width, sidewall. I mean, because they used to run like 66R and a bunch of different tires. You didn't really know what they were. 670, for example, that just meant 6.7 inches wide. So the 235/70/15 is the tire that you can go to as a default if you're not quite sure. Now I've got a couple choices here. I could finish sanding and paint them black, leave it like this. You've got full hubcaps, you've got dog dish, you've got center caps. Not quite sure what I'm going to do here yet. Just give me a minute. I'm going to think about it, and then we'll come back around and we'll finish this up. But anyway, let's go get that shine juice mixed up, roll this back outside into the sun, and wipe this thing down. Probably the last time I'm going to be able to do shine juice this season. It's unseasonably warm right now, 62 degrees, something like that. Moses sandals. There's about 97 different ways to mix this stuff up, according to the Google machine, but this is how I've been doing it since I was 2 years old. It seems to work just fine. Basically all you need is some earth ghost juice. Some call that mineral spirits. You need some bald linseed oil. You don't want boiled, get bald, and that's it. Get a container, preferably one with some dust, a little bit of dirt in there. Guy wants some texture. The linseed oil is what gives you the shine. The earth ghost juice here is what kind of cuts that down a little bit. So if you want more of a matte finish or a dull finish, use a little bit more of this. If you don't, just run the bold linseed oil. I like to put in about 4 Ozzy Osbournes of this. Sure, that seems about right. And then I just put in this till it feels right. About there. And this, although it doesn't look like a lot, is probably going to do most, if not this entire car. A little does a lot. You probably also want to test this on a spot on your rig that no one's going to see, like the middle of your hood. Just see how it reacts with your paint. And then a reminder to keep it off your glass, trim, chrome, lights, rubber, face. You know, stuff that just doesn't seem normal. Could stain it, otherwise it's really smeary and just, it's not good, basically. You are going to have to reapply this 1 or 2 times a season, depending on where you live. I just set it and forget it, basically. Grab a basic rag, dip her in there, and just go to town. I'm just going to knock this whole thing out real quick. I'll show you what it looks like, then I'll show you a pretty nifty way to store this up for next time. Mixing, mixing. Guys got her all done. This side's a little hard to see because it's in the direct sunlight. So we'll head around this side. Use a little bit more than I thought I would because the tops are so rough. But you can see here she's got a real nice, just a matte shine all the way down it. And up here on the front, this is that little spot where I dug in a little bit more with the steel wool. And you could see what the car would look like if I kept going. And I could probably also put some 2000 grit on like a DA and go down it, but I didn't want to lose kind of this here. They call this kind of a fox tina, these deep scratches, and that's quite a bit of work to replicate actually. A bunch of different layers of spray paint, heavy grit sandpaper, so I decided to leave it. But it turned out great. Gonna let it sit out in the sun all day here and bake in. It'll settle down a little bit, and then I can make a decision if I want to add some more in certain areas. All this rust and the browns, they really shoot out at your eyeballs now. That turned out really good. I like it. I think I'm gonna have to sell this one because I'm starting to like it too much. I got too many. Guys mixed up the shine juice before on the channel, and there were a couple, actually more than a couple of folks that said, you didn't say anything about Y and F. Well, I thought it was self-explanatory, but I'm gonna cover it anyway, just in case. This here is flammable, quite a bit. And this one here is really flammable. And what happens when you mix them together, they're flammable. So be careful with it and dispose of your rag carefully. I just light it on fire because if it wants to be flammable, let's throw it in the wood pile. To store it, go down to your hardware store, grab a can like this, and then I just label it shine juice. You just dump your extra right in here, seal it up, and the next project that you're going to regrettably pick up in 5 days, she's already ready to go. This old gal is really turning around fast. I mean, it's quickly becoming a going to town unit, no doubt. Stay tuned for part 4. We're going to overhaul the interior, figure out what we're going to do for hubcapitators, detail all the stainless, might even fix the rock chip in the windshield, not quite sure. And then we've got quite a bit of mechanical to dig into on this thing. I'd really like to scoot it down the highway a little bit and enjoy it before the snow just starts coming in like that, you know. Thanks guys for watching, appreciate it very much. If you're enjoying on the series a little bit, might as well hit the subscribe button. It's free, you just, you know, click it. See you later.